We're here on the Hampshire Avon, upper stretches in Wiltshire, beautiful, beautiful setting. Obviously a lot of course anglers know that downstream you've got the barbel, the chub down at Christchurch in Hampshire, but this is Wiltshire, way up, way above Stonehenge in fact, and we're going to try some different fishing here. And basically Phill and myself want to come up and see what we can investigate, what's up on the upper stretches of the Hampshire Avon, and I'll show you how we're going to fish and what we're going to catch. Right, this is river fishing. It's a whole different ball game altogether than, you know, sitting behind ledger rods and beeping optonics and all that sort of thing. Different level of skill needed because you're working the float in the current. We're not ledgering at all, we're going to be float fishing here. Quite a few of you guys are going to have this gear anyway, it's pretty basic. Gives you good sport. It's a match rod. This one's 13 feet long. It's not carbon or anything, it's just a cheap sort of 30 pounder, 20-30 pounds. Fixed ball reel, 4 to 6 pound line, maggots and corn. That's all we're going to be using. Right, I'll just show you briefly on the float here. Now you can do two things. Generally, you'd be wanting to put a float on to your main line. I'll just show you. You'd be wanting to put on the... I'm using a very small Avon float here. If you've got a faster current, use a bodied Avon. This is a balsa bodied Avon. You put more shot on, and that stabilises the bait and the float going through, you know, the current. So you need, for slightly faster water, you need this. For slower water, you can fish with what's called a stick float, which is without the body, just slender stick float and a little pip on the top. All we're going to be doing is shotting it down to there, just close. Couple of shot. We're not going to be fishing this deep because this particular stretch is quite shallow. Just space the shot out. You can move this one about, I'd say no more, say a number one shot, just to get it down, no more than about 8-10 inches from the hook bait, which is double maggots. Now traditionally you would have, say, 4 to 6 pound line here, you'd have a loop, and then you'd have your hook link with, say, a 2 pound link. Now you can do that, but this is totally virgin fishing up here, you know. It's a fly fishing stretch, so they don't see maggots. The downside is because they don't see maggots, you need to put quite a bit of bait in to get them feeding. But the risk is, you know, there are still some trout left in here, and if you get a big trout in here, that 2 pound hook link's going to go.
Look at that. Proper brown trout. Absolutely fin perfect.
I've just gone shot, hook, size 14 hook, quite a wide gape one, because a lot of the grayling, if you get the grayling, you can bump them off. The way they feed, you know, they're sort of nipping at the bait and they've got hard lips around the edge, little bony lips, and hooks pop out, so you know, be prepared to lose a few. All we do is double hook that maggot, dead easy. It's so basic, it's really basic, this fishing. But not so basic is how you actually control the float. Now the water at the bottom of the riverbed gets dragged over by friction, so you have to hold the float back. Now if it's in slow water, you can let the float run through at a constant speed without holding it back. When you get to doing faster water, you've got to hold the bait back much harder with the float, and you can see how the bait goes before the float. Then you've got to hold it back hard, the float, and you almost feel the bite through the float itself. You'll see it go, but you can also feel the bite as well. This is true jungle fishing, because when I fished here 15 years ago, I'm telling you this, you just walked up to the edge of the riverbank, it was just like grass. I cannot believe it. I'm trying to find the top end of the river now. I know the river's in here somewhere because you can see the willows, and they're always going to be growing on the bank for the water. I've got to get in there because I have a feeling there might be a grayling spot. It's just a little bit of current, a little bit extra flow. It might just trundle the bait along, and generally faster paced water, that's where the grayling I want to go. Dace by the look of it, a big dace. Come on. Come on. Get in, get in. Now that fish has probably never been caught before, ever. And I guess might be unlikely to be caught again. So we bring him up in the sunshine and have a look at it, because this is a really nice dace. Oh, Get out. Look at this for a dace. This is what the English rivers should be full of. Spanking great big dace like that. A beautiful fish, lovely. And bigger than that they go here. They get some jumbo dace here. Lost one. First cast. It was either a big dace or a big grayling just under that bush there, right under the tree. A classic spot to try and catch a fish. Oh. Yes. Probably got another dace here. It shows you the changeover of species when it starts to slow up. Can't see this fish yet. I think it's a grayling. It's a grayling. Oh, good God. Let's have a look. Don't fall off. Come on. That's a grayling. And now we can show you a grayling from the upper Avon. That's not a huge fish, but there's not many places you catch them really. But look, what a beautiful, slender, graceful fish that is. And this is the dorsal fin, look, there. This is where they get the saying, the lady of the stream, with a beautiful soft dorsal fin which they can twist in the current like this to keep on station for insects. And there's the adipose fin, the small one, which I think links it to the salmon family.
It's the second one in 2 casts, both at the same spot. It seemed as though the bait's running down and it's drawing them in.
Well, this is down near the bottom end of the river, or the section we were on, and I can't walk past that without throwing some maggots in, at least having a cast. It's called Sawyer's Bend, from Frank Sawyer, who developed the upstream nymphing technique for grayling, and he also invented a fly, I think it was called the killer bug. And one of his people that he tutored was also the late Oliver Kite, who was a big salmon and game fisherman, and they fished on this bend. So I mean, there's a real piece of angling history just in this bend. It's going to get some maggots and it's going to get afloat, and hopefully we'll make some history. What you want to do with a loose feed is what they call the little and often basis. Maybe 6 or a dozen maggots. Keep them going in, not all the time, but give them a sort of 6 handfuls to start with. And every time you have a cast or put the float through, about another 6, 8, 10 maggots, something like that. History made, Sawyer's Bend, a nice brown. It's not obviously been as great as it was 15 years ago, but then nothing is it, let's face it. But you know, we've caught brown trout, we've got roach, we've got the grayling, we've got some really big dace, we even had minnow. And I've seen a pike down there, I can't catch it. But it's, you know, it's been a good day. We've had you know, brilliant weather, a bit too cold, bright, and I think that's probably what's put the fish off a bit. But you know, we've had some good fish. We've lost some good fish as well. I haven't shown you some of the fish we lost. We must have lost 20 fish, I should think, just bumping off the hook, which grayling are prone to do because of the underslung mouth. So it shows you what's available, still on the Avon. It's still not finished yet. It still could be coming back. As you see, some of those fish, this is the size, you know, the 6-inch size of fish. They're the one that they're missing from our river systems all over. So it shows either this one hasn't been hit by the cormorants and all the other stuff, or it's actually on the way back. We should be back to try it again, but hopefully it won't be another 15 years.